Hi, everybody. Welcome on board, Richie.
Hi.
So, we're live from the NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor podcast. And I'm really excited today to bring a very, very special guest who takes care not just of what goes inside your tummy, but also how it impacts your mental health, your physical health, so on and so forth. A very warm welcome to Richie Agarwal, who is a certified keto coach and intermittent fasting master. So, she's going to talk about how she helps her clients work around their health issues with proper intake of food, thus helping them develop a better relationship with their body. On to you, Richie.
Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. And it's really an honor to be here with you. So I'm really excited because I'm gonna just talk about health and people, how food actually affects your body. I feel losing weight and having a transformation journey is not just about the physical appearance, but it is about the full mental health and wellness, where you just start seeing your life in a different way. The way you feel eat is the way you feel, I believe. So I just love spreading the word about that to people, and with that motto I actually started Keto Victoria, because from my personal journey I felt that what all changes I saw when I start eating right. So yeah, I'm just gonna start with it.
That's great, Richie. And like you said, the food that goes into your tummy plays a very vital role in your overall physical and mental wellness. So tell us more about, what kind of foods you recommend your clients. And, a lot of your clients have been through your handle in detail. I follow your handle, Keto Victoria. And I've seen your clients have had like the weight loss that they have, it's a large transformation, and it's a quick
Yeah.
transformation. People lose from 6 to
Okay.
like 16 kgs over a span of maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months. So tell me what that process is all about.
Okay, so honestly, the weight loss which we see on Instagram, we feel like it is very quick, but for my clients, it is like they have to keep a lot of patience to get that weight loss. And for each body, the weight loss can differ depending on different factors, like if they are a male or a female, if they have hormonal cycles, their current lifestyle, their sleep levels, their stress levels, what all activities they are doing. All these things depends and creates a full weight loss journey. So each person it can differ, but when you are starting keto for the first time and you start depleting your carbs, you are going to lose around 3 to 5 kgs in a month very easily. And that is again because you are depleting the carbs and body is losing all the water weight. So the first month is obviously just the water weight. For the real fat loss, I always suggest my clients to do it at least for 45 to 60 days, because that is the mark when your body starts getting into keto adapted. So what is
All right.
keto adapted? Keto adapted is basically when your body starts running on its own fat rather than running on the sugar and carbs. So once it does that, you can very easily lose weight. And for my clients, what I do is I give them plans. Every 15 days I give them a plan. On weekly basis I take updates from them. Other than that, what I do is I just play around with their carb intakes, with their fat intake, with their protein intake. And eventually, once they are when they are fat adapted, I just add intermittent fasting along with keto, because I believe intermittent fasting and keto works hand in hand. When you combine those both, your speed of fat loss just increases. But for being like doing intermittent fasting, you first need to be fat adapted, otherwise you will get very hangry and irritated. I feel if you're keto adapted, it's much easier to go long hours of not eating. But not eating doesn't mean that when you are not eating your calories, you have to eat your calories, but at the right time. So, for my clients, I always tell them two things. A is to eat right, not less. You have to eat right and do not count calories. You just need to eat the right food ingredients. Food ingredients, I mean, which are low in glycemic index and which won't spike their insulin. If it won't spike your insulin, you won't be gaining any weight. The second is you need to read labels. Whenever you are buying something, even you are out at restaurants or a packaged product, you are going to see hidden carbs everywhere. So you need to make sure which ones are and which ones are not. And for that, I even give them a different list and everything. Other than that, I will be available for you. You can like ping me. I always try and be available for my clients because this diet is very different, and if they eat something wrong, uh, it will kick them out of ketosis. So they need to know what are the
All
right
right, so great.
foods.
So I have a couple of questions. Please carry on.
No, you say,
Yeah,
you
so
say.
my question was, what exactly is a keto diet? What does it include? What does
Okay.
it exclude?
Okay,
So
so
for
what
like
is a
many
keto
people, I
diet?
mean, of course, keto is like a big fad right now, but what exactly is keto? Like for people who still aren't very aware and are still curious, what exactly is a keto diet? What does it include, and what do
Okay.
you need to exclude from your diet?
Okay, so first of all, keto is like, there is a myth that keto is a fad diet, but keto is not a fad diet. I am doing it from past 5 years. But what basic keto, which everyone wants to know, it is a diet which is high in fats, moderate in protein, and lowest in carbs. Okay, so the carb limit should be somewhere between 20 to 25 grams, which is just 5% of your total calories. Your protein should be around 15 to 20, and rest 75 to 80 should be fat. A lot of time people have misconception that keto is a high protein diet, but no, it is a high fat diet and moderate protein diet. What all things we can eat would be things which are high in fat, which is like your oils, your ghee, your avocados, nuts, all your vegetables, which is counted in your 5% of carb limit, which is your fiber which is required by the body. And not to eat would be things like your wheat, roti, maida, rice, refined sugars. All these things have to be avoided.
So what do like in a typical keto diet, what do you replace the wheat, maida, etc. that one is using in a keto diet?
Right, right.
Okay, I seem to have lost you, Ruchi. Are you back?
No. Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Tell me. So, what do you typically replace? Like wheat-related items that are part of our daily diet and routine. What do we replace them with in a keto diet?
Okay, so like I said, you need to know the right ingredients which are low glycemic index. So what I do for my clients is, if I want them, someone wants ki we need to have roti. We Indians need to have roti. So I'll replace that to almond flour roti or a coconut flour roti. I give them a separate full ingredients for the making the roti, or I can even ask, if someone doesn't have time, they can use certain in brands which are clean, and they can use those brand as their substitute to the roti. Same goes for the rice. If you cannot eat rice in keto, but you can substitute it to your cauliflower rice. You can make rice out of cauliflower, and you can make it in as way you like. If you want Chinese rice, or if you want fried rice, whatever you like, you can make it that way. Just the ingredients need to be switched.
All right. Okay. Great. So, you've also told me, like when we were talking initially about how you work with your clients, that you personally have a belief that one can heal his or her body with the right kind of foods, and make a gradual shift from really curing yourself and your body through medication, vis-a-vis really curing your body through the healthy food that you intake every day. So can we talk about what are the kinds of health foods that you recommend? Let's talk about the general ones. We'll talk about specific health issues later, but let's talk about like the general health foods that you recommend in your diets, and how they can help us be healthier and feel healthier inside out.
Okay, so the basic thing which I feel can bring a massive change in a person is going to be two things. One is going to be the refined sugar. You need to say no to sugar, absolutely. And the other is wheat. If you will just remove these two things also from your diet, you will start seeing the changes, whether it's in your inflammation level, whether it's in your bloating, whether it's the way you feel. You automatically would like to do exercise, feel good about yourself, because obviously these food spikes the most insulin, and if you remove these two things you will feel good. And so on, further you can go to the another levels. It's not compulsory you just have to do keto. You can replace your regular wheat to your ragi roti also, because it will make it gluten free, which we want. So these are the things which like people doesn't know that there are more than 60 types of sugar and kinds of sugar in each food industry. You can see in each product, you can see those sugars. So that's why you should read the labels and avoid sugar and wheat. Like those things will make the change and you will feel better mentally. Same goes for my clients also. When I'm trying to do the transformation for them, what I see is it's not just about what they are eating. They can eat things, everyone can tell you what to eat and what not to eat, but sometimes you just need a little push from a person, a little motivation, that yeah, she's there to hear me. And even that thing really helps my clients. Okay, I can talk to someone, I can share my feelings, because it's a very very emotional phase and a mental stress also on people, so I try and help them in that manner also.
Yeah, because I feel like, whenever I have tried to eliminate sugar completely, like not in the form of, say, the sugar that goes into your cold coffee, milk, etc., like that's, I think, like relatively easier. But, like when you completely remove other sugars from your diet, any meal, say lunch or dinner, and then you completely stop having that, you do go through initial mood swings, because your body is
Right.
so used to that sudden intake of sugar immediately after a
Yeah.
meal or before your meal. Different people have like to have their sweets differently. Some people prefer it like, as a snack. Some people like having it like after their lunch or dinner. So however you're habituated, but if you're used to having it in a certain way every day, and all of a sudden you just bring an end to it, then yes, you do go through like mood swings,
Yeah.
or you feel like emotionally down, or you just feel like something major
Right,
is
right,
missing.
right, right.
So I think from that perspective, I think it is important, like you're saying, where clients are able to connect with you, discuss with you, and just get inspired and motivated to like not give up. Because I think so often when we try to work with a nutrition plan, um, and we've had that initial fat loss, weight loss, one gets tempted to kind of like just
Right.
stop for a couple of days, take a break from the diet, because you've had that
Yeah.
initial loss. So I think that is the time that when a
Right,
client
right.
needs their trainer to communicate with, and to just have a boost, you know
True.
in terms of
So
an inspiration or a motivation boost to not give up. Yeah.
yeah, like the thing you are talking about, that initially when we are trying to remove sugar, we are going to get mood swings and we'll feel very dull. The same goes for carbs, because carbs are nothing. When you're going to eat carbs, it is going to be converted into sugar in your body, and it will be used as glucose by the body. So if you are depleting your carbs and your sugar, I always try for my clients to go from, if they are currently eating 200 grams of carbs, which is equals to sugar, so I will deplete like 100, then I'll go to 80, then I'll go to 50. So it is always in steps, not instantly. I'm not going to remove everything. Other than that, the flu which comes is in our language called the keto flu. Okay, that keto flu comes in the beginning for 7 to 14 days, and it can last till 21 days also. But it is actually a electrolyte imbalance. If you will just make sure that you have good potassium, magnesium, and sodium, you won't feel that flu, and that would just very easily be passed. So yes, even at that time they need my motivation to understand that what actually is happening to their bodies. Otherwise they get a little panics that we are not able to do it and everything. So I think that time the support is very, very important. And another thing, when at the end, like after like 2 months, 3 months, they just want to give up, but I want them to do more because they have more weight to lose. I just ask them, if you will quit this time, then you again have to start from zero. So it's better to do it constantly. Do it lighter. I don't mind that. Do a little less keto, do go for low carbs, but do it consistently to see the results.
And what exactly is the keto flu? What are the symptoms of a keto flu? What do people go through? Like, if you could just
Okay,
like share
so
that as well.
yeah, keto flu is basically people start feeling getting headaches, they start feeling nauseatic, some people get diarrhea, some people get constipation, all these things, and some people get nothing if they take care of their potassium levels. Okay, so basically, what I do to make them not get the keto flu is add good levels of potassium, which is through pink Himalayan salt, and the another thing is through avocados. I ask them to take good amount of sodiums, and same for magnesium, they can have good amounts of salted almonds, they can have avocados. If they take care of the foods which I have given in the plan, they won't get that keto flu. So you need, and the other symptoms are they start feeling very dull and exhausted. So another trick, the one trick I would give is a pink Himalayan salt. It is actually the best trick for any flu. You just have it in your lemon water or just under your tongue, and your keto flu would be gone in a minute.
All right, great. So, we are going to later in the episode discuss the various kind of good fats, good, vegetables, etc. All of that. However, I do have a question from Mrs. Shuchi Kapoor, and she's asking: is it good to eat ghee and coconut oil? Like for Indian kind of cooking, is it okay to use ghee and coconut oil?
Yeah, ghee and coconut oil are the best kinds of fats, and they are not the unhealthy fats. They are good fats which are required for our bones, for our joints, for our eyes, for our body, and we should consume them. But do avoid the refined oils, whether it's peanut oil, soya oil, vegetable oils. You need to avoid all these. But ghee, olive oil, and coconut oil are the best.
So, when you're saying we need to avoid vegetables, oil, etc., can you explain a little more about that?
They are actually refined and they are not very organic. So I always ask my clients to avoid those things.
Okay, okay. Can they lead to like health disasters? If yes, can we talk a little bit more about what kind of health
Yeah.
issues can people
Okay.
have if they work, if they're using
Not
vegetable
about the
oils,
health.
etc.?
Okay, so the main thing is when you are eating anything refined, your body will start getting inflamed, and when it start getting inflamed, it will lead to all kinds of diseases which we face in future. Whether it's your chronic diseases, it's your autoimmune diseases, all these are cause of your inflammations. So you need to avoid all these things so that in future you do not get diabetic or inflamed or have any type of chronic disease.
Great. Thank you so much, Richie. And for all of you guests who have just joined us live on the podcast on Facebook or YouTube, I would like to reintroduce Richie Agarwal, who is a keto certified keto coach and intermittent fasting master. And today's episode is all about nutrition, feeling healthy inside out. And it is the finale episode of season 2 of NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor podcast, services special series. And for those of you who are wondering about my avatar, it's because I have an eye allergy and I just wanted to go ahead with the podcast and not postpone it. So here I am with my shades on. Coming back to
But you
the
look very
podcast.
pretty.
Thank you. Coming back to the podcast, let's just explore more about women who have PCOD and other health issues. How is this diet specifically beneficial for them? I distinctly remember going through your Instagram handle and seeing, your clients having tremendous weight loss, and not just that, but really seeing a positive feedback from women who have had PCOS and have also lost close to 2.3 kgs within a month and felt really
Yeah.
happy,
Yeah.
in the process. process, and I think that's what matters. Because of course, like having any kind of fat loss, weight loss, when you would like to achieve that, whether it's just if you want to work on your appearance, or if it's for other underlying reasons such as health issues,
Right.
where you are advised to have a certain kind of weight loss, I think more than like the goal, sometimes if the journey is made easy and you feel happy in the process and you don't have major downswings, then I would truly say that that is like the great win. Of course, like weight
Right.
loss in itself is the ultimate goal, but I think the process and the journey, if it's easier, then I think that is what really counts in people being able to follow it through and carry on with it. So tell me about women who you counsel and who are a part of your clientele right now, who are experiencing health
Yeah.
issues. PCOS is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so PCOS is actually very, very, very common in women who are basically more obese and have excessive weight, who have type 2 diabetes, and the another who are already insulin resistant. So these are the women who have PCOS, and keto solves all these three issues. If you start depleting your carbs, you will automatically start losing weight. If you will start being keto adapted, your insulins would be lower and you will reverse your insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is what? It is basically when your body stops using the excessive insulin which is already in your body. So to solve all these issues, all we need to do is deplete our carbs, eat healthy, and once these things are solved, you automatically will not need the PCOS birth pills and all these medications which doctor gives you. It is actually that you need to reduce your weight, eat healthy, settle your hormones, which will deplete your or reverse your PCOS. Like I have so many clients who do not even need medications anymore of PCOS because they started eating healthy, they started having regular cycles because of keto. And there are even studies which show that PCOS is very keto is very beneficial for women who have PCOS. So keto is very beneficial for them.
So I think that's where we can go back to where you were referring to those clients and really telling me that there is a way through your diet and nutrition to actually reverse the quantity of medication that you are on for a specific health issue
Right.
such as
Right.
PCOS. So I think now that is kind of self-explanatory, because if you are able to achieve what you are trying to achieve through medication in a more holistic way, just by changing or modifying your food intake, then I think that is how you can
Right.
actually reduce. And maybe after
True. True.
consultation
True.
with the doctor, sometimes they even tell you to like get off medication. So I think that is how
Right.
we can achieve that. So now talking about is keto, you did mention to me during our chat that keto is not recommended, and low carb diets are not recommended for pregnant women. So can we talk a little bit more about
Yeah.
that?
Okay, so not just for pregnant women, but even for the breastfeeding mothers, I would suggest not to go full keto because in a keto we are absolutely excluding a food component which is carbs, and which even gives us some kinds of nutrients. And at the time of pregnancy or breastfeeding, we need those carbs. So I would suggest them not to go full keto, but they can go for a low carb diet where they can keep their carb limit instead of 20 to 50 to 100 to 150 grams, and they can still maintain their weight, feel good, eat healthy, but do not have to affect their health also. So it is not recommended for people who are even having low blood sugar levels, because keto gives you low blood sugar levels, and if you'll go immediately more keto, it can harm you. So for those people, I would suggest to first consult their physician and doctors. And it is but keto is going to be very helpful for people who have high blood sugar levels or high BP issues, because then it will reduce all the issues.
Great. So it's not really recommended for people who are pregnant, breastfeeding, or even on
Yeah.
a prenatal diet, right? For
Right, right,
emergency
right.
cases. All right, great. So coming to now, what kind of exercise would you recommend for your clients who are, um, on a nutrition plan with you? So, like, what kind of a nutrition exercise plan combination would you, suggest
Yeah.
and recommend to
Okay.
your clients and to our listeners today?
Yeah. So for the first 7 to 14 days of keto, I would suggest not to exercise much because you're going to go through a keto flu. And if you're going to start adding everything together rigorously, and you will start getting that flu symptoms more. So I would suggest not to exercise. If you want, you can go for light walks. We sometimes underestimate the power of light walks, but just light walks for 30 minutes in nature will help you, not in the fat loss, not in the weight loss, but in your mental health. When your mental health is good, your weight is going to eventually go down. And later, once you're fat adapted, after 45 to 60 days, they can add any exercise in any amount they want. Just they should enjoy it. I personally give my clients a resistance training plan along with the other diet plans, so that it can increase their fat loss speed. So walks and resistance training is a combination of both.
So, what exactly is resistance training?
Okay, so resistance training is not something that you just need to go to gym or anything. You can just do your body weight exercises for 28 to 30 minutes, where you do burpees, planks, and crunches, all these things. You can even take a separate plan for this, where you are aiming for your arms, for your legs one day, for your shoulders one day. So there are different kinds of plans, whichever you opt to. But for fat loss and weight loss, you do not need to do exercise much, but it is always 85% diet and 15% exercise for me. So that 15% of exercise is for your mental health and for your toning, and for the fat loss you need to make sure of the diet.
Great. Thank you so much, Ruchi. And for all our viewers and listeners today, I would like to tell you, if you want to catch up on previous episodes of NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor podcast, all the episodes are currently airing on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Alexa, and you can, of course, watch them if you like on Facebook and YouTube, on my account at the rate Tanvi Kapoor. And now going on ahead, let's talk about low carb vegetables, healthy fats, low carb fruits, healthy snack options. Ruchi, the expert, is going to tell us all about these various segments. So let's start with low carb vegetables. So I do know for a fact, Ruchi, that you do give your clients a list of these items that are low carb vegetables, healthy fats, protein sources, etc. And so we'll just talk about a few, like 2-3 items in each category, just so that people get an idea that what are these items. So let's start with low carb vegetables. What are the three
Okay.
top low carb vegetables you could recommend to our viewers and listeners?
I would suggest to go for lettuce, zucchini, and broccoli. These three are great, and even spinach. These are the lowest in carbs.
All right, great. Talking about healthy fats. Now, earlier in the conversation, we already spoke about coconut oil and ghee. But let's talk about, maybe you could add in one or two more and tell people about the benefits of these healthy fats.
Okay, so what else you can add could be, you can add pure avocados. Okay, avocados are a great source of fat, and the other would be nuts. But again, you need to know the quantity according to your daily macros, which I set for my clients. So you can get these two, but make sure even they have lot of carbs also. So need to make sure that they fit into your macros or not.
So guys, don't start out on your own just by switching to the healthy fats, because I think quantity also really matters. So speak to Richie if you plan to get on a nutrition plan with her for the keto, which we're specifically talking about today. And Richie's probably going to be back on the podcast where we are going to be talking about intermittent fasting as well. But today we're concentrating on keto. So coming back to the protein sources, so what are the three most healthy sources of protein that people can take in their diets?
Okay, so one would be our Indians and vegetarians can have would be paneer. Okay, so the paneer is the best source for vegetarians and non-vegetarians. They can have that. Other would be eggs. Eggs are a great source of protein. And other would be chicken. They can have chicken, and all these are a very good source of protein. If you want to go for a vegan style of keto, even that you can do through adding tofu. But for tofu, I would always suggest to go for a non-GMO tofu, and not for the regular ones. Otherwise, there are a lot of chemicals and antibiotics in it, which is not good for your health.
So can you talk a bit more about the variation of tofu?
Tofu, there are like two types of tofus. One is the regular tofu which we get, which is of soy, and the other is the non-GMO ones, which has no bacteria and chemicals, which is more good for our body, especially for our estrogens. And that is really great if you go for anything when you are buying, go for non-GMO, which
Okay,
is
great.
basically more organic.
All right. So now for for frying, when we fry certain things and make them, okay. So for instance, some curries that where we put like fried vegetables and all of that, we add fried vegetables and other items that are fried. What is the best oil to use for frying items? Like of course, like if you're
I
making
would
light salads or egg or pasta, you can use olive oil, right? But for
right
like intense Indian cooking, what kind of oil would you
ghee,
recommend? Because sometimes
ghee is the
I don't know if
purest.
it's a myth, but ghee, okay, but is it healthy?
Ghee is the
Because
purest.
okay,
It is
so
very
even for
healthy. It
like
is
deep
much
frying
better than any other.
so even if you're deep frying
Yeah,
items, you can use ghee. That's considered
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
In keto, not for every type of diet I would suggest, but for keto is a high fat diet, and the good sources of fat is ghee, coconut oil, and olive oils. I personally do not like taste of coconut oil in fried vegetables and all, so I would go for ghee. Ghee is the healthiest option.
All right, great. So coming to low carb fruits. So what are the best low carb fruits? Like say if we pick three low carb fruits, which ones would you pick?
Okay, so the three most lowest carbs of fruits would be berries, which can be any kinds of berries. You can have raspberry, blueberry, strawberries. The other would be avocado, and the third is watermelon in certain amounts according to your macros. You can have watermelon also. People have a myth that you cannot have watermelon in keto, but you can have just in a certain amount. You need to know.
All right. And if we talk about two or three healthy keto snacks, which would be the top three on your list?
Okay, so the top three would be nuts. Nuts are the best. You can have macadamia nuts, pecans, almonds, walnuts. These are the best kinds of things. The other would be berries. Berries are a great snack you can have with your yogurts, full fat yogurts, or even a ghar ka dahi would work. And the third would be you can have boiled eggs, or you can have avocado. Again, you can have all these things, or avocado smoothie is the best kind of snack which I would give to my clients.
Interesting. And Ruchi also gives like very interesting dessert
Recipes.
recipes to her clients, which I think is something that would excite
Yeah.
anybody to come on board for her keto nutrition plan. So she actually also shares a couple of very interesting recipes with her clients. So today on the podcast, Ruchi, I'm not going to really ask for any recipes, but I would like for you to mention three interesting recipes, like just the name of the items and not the recipes themselves. So please give me like any three healthy desserts that you give your clients and also give the recipes for. And I think people can directly
Okay.
contact you after the podcast for more
Yeah.
information.
So the first recipe which I personally love, and especially when I'm PMSing, is keto brownie. So it is very healthy and it is all chocolatey. So who won't like it? The second would be my uh, blueberry cakes. The blueberry cakes are very yummy, and you can even find the recipe on my Instagram, even for the keto brownie. The third would be my favorite is the keto bread, which I have with almond butter or peanut butter over it. It's the best dessert. It could be your breakfast, it could be your after meal dessert, and it is healthy and would fit your macros very easily because carbs are only 1 to 2 grams in each.
Thank you so much for sharing that information with us, Ruchi. And I'm sure, like a lot of people, listeners on the podcast today, or the people who are going to see this later, are going to be very excited to connect with you because they do have this bait and information that they don't have to like really starve themselves. And if they have a dessert craving, there will be multiple options to choose from. Okay, so when we were talking about this, Maulik Agarwal also has made a couple of suggestions. He's saying cheese crackers, granolas, cheesecake with the almond base and the mud cake. So I think these are all things that you tell your clients and include in their
Yeah,
recipes, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
So we have so much of an incentive to really consider this as an option for your nutrition plan if you are thinking of working with your body, whether it's just to feel healthy or to have a physical transformation, to feel more toned, whatever your reason might be. And Ruchi is available on our Instagram handle. You can connect with her directly as well. It's by the name of Keto Victoria. And yes, Mrs. Meena Sehgal is also saying, wow, very, very tempting. So, yes, we're getting positive feedback from listeners already. And Hitesh Khem Chandani says, nice, Ruchi, very informative and helpful. And Mr. Shashi Kapoor says, it's been very interesting. And we have addressed all the questions on the podcast that have come in right now. And if you guys want to catch up on the previous bit of the podcast, then you can easily catch us on IGTV and YouTube at Tanvi Kapoor, or go and check out the podcast on all the handles that were mentioned earlier in the podcast. That is iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio, Alexa, by the name of NRG Retreat with Tanvi Kapoor. And on that note, thank you so much, Ruchi, for being our guest on the finale episode of the Services Special Season 2 of NRG Retreat podcast with Tanvi Kapoor. And I would love to have you back where we can talk more
Definitely.
about intermittent fasting, the benefits, what it entails, and really get more information from you about this as well. So thank you so much. I really hope that the guests enjoyed listening and viewing this, and will also catch up with all the previous episodes on social media. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Taking your
much.
leave.
It was an honor.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.